Eurofient is Trooper Justin M. Larry of the Pennsylvania State Police, Stroudsburg Station Criminal Investigation Unit. Since 2009, I have served as a detective with the Lackawanna County District Attorney's Office, a special agent with the Pennsylvania Office of Attorney General, a task force co-officer with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and currently as a trooper with the Pennsylvania State Police, Troop and Vice Unit. Throughout my career, I have conducted hundreds of criminal investigations, including numerous homicide investigations. Eurofient is Trooper Brian V. Knoll of the Pennsylvania State Police, Troop and Criminal Investigation Assessment Officer. I have been employed with the Pennsylvania State Police since 2008 and assigned as a criminal investigator since 2012. I have been assigned as the Criminal Investigation Assessment Officer since 2019. Throughout my career, I have conducted hundreds of criminal investigations, including numerous homicide investigations. On Wednesday, December 28, 2022, the Pennsylvania State Police was requested to assist the Moscow Police Department, Moscow, ID and Federal Bureau of Investigation with a homicide investigation which occurred on Sunday, November 13, 2022. As a part of this investigation, we reviewed reports and affidavits prepared by the Moscow Police Department, establishing probable cause for issuance of search warrants related to this investigation, which are included in this affidavit of probable cause as Exhibit A. Furthermore, investigators began physical surveillance of the property and area of 119 Lambsden Drive, Chestnut Hill Township, and in the early morning hours of Tuesday, December 27, 2022, observed Brian Cobberger walking near this residence. Additionally, Cobberger's vehicle was observed entering the Indian Mountain Lakes development on December 16, 2022, and the vehicle is still believed to be on premises. Investigators are also monitoring Cobberger's cellular phone, which appears to be in the same vicinity of this residence. On Wednesday, December 28, 2022, while conducting surveillance, investigators observed Cobberger traveling throughout Monroe County and arriving back at his residence on Lambsden Drive. Eurofiants are requesting a search warrant be issued for the search and seizure of all items listed in the items to be searched, along with forensic processing of all items. Additionally, based upon the serious and violent nature of these crimes, including risk of general public safety, Eurofiants are requesting a nighttime search warrant be issued to execute this search warrant at any time, and the affidavit of probable cause be sealed. Any and all of the following, which may be found on his person, blood or other bodily fluids or materials and items with blood or other bodily fluids or materials on, in, or near them, knives, sheaths, other weapons or instrumentalities of injury or death, and sales receipts or documentation from purchases or acquisition of such items, documents, records, medications, drugs, or other substances, prescription or otherwise, bottles, labs, syringes, packaging, and other items associated with medications, drugs, or other substances, prescription or otherwise, that could relate to physical or mental states of assailants or victims, or relating to or containing information indicating, suggesting, or otherwise evidencing violence, a physical attack, a fight, or mode of hostility for any of the same, any property belonging to Ethan Chapin, Kaylee Gonsalves, Zana Carnodal, Madison Mogan, Bethany Funke, and/or Dylan Mortensen, documents, records, data compilations related to 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho, and/or Ethan Chapin, and/or Kaylee Gonsalves, and/or Zana Carnodal, and/or Madison Mogan, and/or Bethany Funke, and/or Dylan Mortensen, clothing to include but not limited to dark shirts or pants, masks, shoes with a diamond paltum sole, DNA, footprints, fingerprints, fibers, animal and/or human hair or other physical or trace evidence, or items bearing these relating to or containing information indicating, suggesting, or related to violence, a fight, or mode of hostility for any of the same. 4. Samples of Brian Cobberger's deoxyribonucleic acid, DNA, by buccal swabs taken from the inside of Cobberger's mouth and/or whole blood samples, alcoholic beverages, other intoxicants, and any containers or recepts for the same. Data compilations relating to or containing information indicating, suggesting, or related to violence, stabbing, a fight, or mode of hostility for any of the same, to include without limitation ledgers, papers, lists, books, notes, letters, calendars, diaries, tapes, photographs, videos, or other media or similar documents or items, computer and communications devices capable of storing electronic data, other electronic storage devices and media, and access to contents of all of the above, all electronic devices including all communications content, including email, text, SMS, MMS or app chats, applications, cloud storage, notes or voicemail, including attachments, source and destination addresses, time and date information, connection logs, images and any other records, including indicia of use, ownership, possession, or control of such communication or information found, all location data for the above, which may be stored in GPS locations or cellular tower connection data, including metadata of photos or social networking posts, Wi-Fi logs, and data associated with installed applications, all photographic, video, and audio data and associated metadata, all internet history for the above, including cookies, bookmarks, web history, and search terms, all stored IP addresses associated, all financial information related to the above, all indicia of ownership and control for the data in cellular device, such as device identification and settings data, address book contacts, social network posts, updates, tags, Wi-Fi network tables, associated wireless devices, Wi-Fi networks or Bluetooth devices, associated connected devices, backup devices, and stored passwords or user dictionaries, indicia of residency in, or ownership or possession of, the vehicle and any of the above items. Exhibit A, Statement of Brett Payne. The below information is provided by Corporal CPL Brett Payne, who is a duly appointed, qualified and acting peace officer within the County of Idaho, State of Idaho. CPL Payne is employed by Moscow Police Department in the official capacity or position of corporal, and has been a trained and qualified peace officer for approximately 4 years. Corporal Payne is being assisted by members of the Idaho State Police and agents of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. On November 13, 2022, at approximately 4 p.m., Moscow Police Department, MPD, Sergeant Blaker in 1 responded to 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho, hereafter the King Road residence, to assist with scene security and processing of a crime scene associated with 4 homicides. Upon our arrival, the Idaho State Police ISB forensic team was on scene and was preparing to begin processing the scene. MPD officer OFC Smith, one of the initial responding officers to the incident, advised he would walk me through the scene. OFC Smith and I entered the King Road residence through the bottom floor door on the north side of the building. OFC Smith and then walked upstairs to the second floor. OFC Smith directed me down the hallway to the west bedroom on the second floor, which I later learned, through Xana's driver's license and other personal belongings found in the room, was Xana Kernodle's, hereafter Kernodle room. Just before this room there was a bathroom door on the south wall of the hallway. As I approached the room, I could see a body, later identified as Kernodle's, laying on the floor. Kernodle was deceased with wounds which appeared to have been caused by an edged weapon. Also in the room was a male, later identified as Ethan Chapin, hereafter Chapin was also deceased with wounds later determined. Autopsy report provided by Spokane MPW December 29, 2022. County Medical Examiner Veena Singh dated December 15, 2022, to be caused by sharp force injuries. I then followed OFC Smith upstairs to the third floor of the residence. The third floor consisted of 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The bedroom on the west side of the floor was later determined to be Kales Gonsalves, hereafter Gonsalves room. I later learned, from review of Officer Nunez's body camera, there was a dog in the room when Moscow police officers initially responded. The dog belonged to Gonsalves and her ex-boyfriend Jack Duker. I found out from my interview with Jack Duker on November 13, 2022, that he and Gonsalves shared the dog. OFC Smith then pointed out a small bathroom on the east side of the third floor. This bathroom shared a wall with Madison Mogan's, hereafter Mogan bedroom, which was situated on the southeast corner of the third floor. As I entered this bedroom, I could see 2 females in the single bed in the room. Both Gonsalves and Mogan were deceased with visible stab wounds. I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Mogan's right side, when viewed from the door. The sheath was later processed and had CABR, USMC and the United States Marine Corps Kegel Globe and Anchor insignia stamped on the outside of it. The Idaho State Lab later located a single source of male DNA left on the button snap of the knife sheath. As part of the investigation, numerous interviews were conducted by Moscow Police Department officers, Idaho State Police detectives, and FBI agents. 2 of the interviews included Bethany Funke, hereafter Funke, and Dylan Mortensen, hereafter Mortensen. Both Funke and Mortensen were inside the King Road residence at the time of the homicides and were roommates to the victims. Funk's bedroom was located on the east side of the first floor of the King Road residence. Based on numerous interviews conducted by MPD officers, ISP detectives, and FBI agents, as well as my review of evidence, I have learned the following. On the evening of November 12, 2022, Chapin and Kernodle are seen by Funke at the Sigma Chi House on the University of Idaho campus at 735 Nez Perce Drive from approximately 9 p.m. on November 12 to 1:45 a.m. on November 13. Funke also estimated that at approximately 1:45 a.m., Chapin and Kernodle returned to the King Road residence. Funke also stated that Chapin did not live in the King Road residence, but was a guest of Kernodle. Gonsalves and Mogan were at a local bar, the Corner Club at 202 N Main Street, in Moscow. Gonsalves and Mogan can be seen on video footage provided by the Corner Club between 10 p.m. on November 12 and 1:30 a.m. on November 13. At approximately 1:30 a.m., Gonsalves and Mogan can be seen on video at a local food vendor called The Grub Truck at 318 S Main Street in downtown Moscow. The Grub Truck live streams video from their food truck on the streaming platform Twitch, which is available for public viewing on their website. This video was captured by law enforcement. A private party, Eric Rower, reported that he provided a ride to Gonsalves and Mogan at approximately 1:56 a.m. from downtown Moscow in front of the Grub Truck to the King Road residence. Mortensen and Funke both made statements during interviews that indicated the occupants of the King Road residence were at home by 2 a.m. and asleep or at least in their rooms by approximately 4 a.m. This is with the exception of Kernodle, who received a DoorDash order at the residence at approximately 4 a.m. Law enforcement identified the DoorDash delivery driver who reported this information. Mortensen stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the second floor. Mortensen stated she was awoken at approximately 4 a.m. by what she stated sounded like Gonsalves playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which were located on the third floor. A short time later, Mortensen said she heard who she thought was Gonsalves say something to the effect of "There is someone here," A review of records obtained from a forensic download of Cametel's phone showed this could also have been Cornodal, as her cellular phone indicated she was likely awake and using the TikTok app at approximately 4:12 a.m. Mortensen stated she looked out of her bedroom, but did not say anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house. Mortensen stated she opened her door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Caradal's room. Mortensen then said she heard a male voice say something to the effect of "It's okay, I'm going to hit you." At approximately 4:17 a.m., a security camera located at 1112 King Road, a residence immediately to the northwest of 1122 King Road, picked up distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper followed by a loud thud. A dog can also be heard barking numerous times starting at 4:17 a.m. The security camera is less than 50 feet from the west wall of Caradal's bedroom. Mortensen stated she opened her door for the third time after she heard the crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. Mortensen described the figure as 5 minutes and 10 seconds or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. The male walked past Mortensen as she stood in a frozen shock phase. The male walked towards the back sliding glass door. Mortensen locked herself in her room after seeing the male. Mortensen did not state that she recognized the male. This leads investigators to believe that the murderer left the scene. The combination of Mortensen's statements to law enforcement, reviews of forensic downloads of records from Fuke and Mortensen's phone, and video of a suspect video, as described below, leads investigators to believe the homicides occurred between 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m. During the processing of the crime scene, investigators found a latent shoe print. This was located during the second processing of the crime scene by the ISB forensic team by first using a presumptive blood test and an amino black, a protein stain that detects the presence of cellular material. The detected shoe print showed a diamond-shaped pattern, similar to the pattern of a Vans-type shoe sole, just outside the door of Mortensen's bedroom, located on second floor. This is consistent with Mortensen's statement regarding the suspect's path of travel. As part of the investigation, an extensive search, commonly referred to in law enforcement as a video canvass, was conducted in the area of the King Road residence. This video canvass was to obtain any footage from the early morning hours of November 13, 2022, in the area of the King Road residence and surrounding neighborhoods in an effort to locate the suspects or suspect vehicles traveling to or leaving from the King Road residence. This video canvass resulted in the collection of numerous surveillance videos in the area from both residential and business addresses. I have reviewed numerous videos that were collected and have had conversations with the other MPD officers, ISB detectives, and FBI agents that are similarly reviewing footage that was obtained. A review of camera footage indicated that a white sedan, hereafter suspect vehicle 1, was observed traveling westbound in the 700 block of Indian Hills Drive in Moscow at approximately 3:26 a.m. and westbound on Steiner Avenue at Idaho State Highway 95 in Moscow at approximately 3:28 a.m. On this video, it appeared suspect vehicle 1 was not displaying a front license plate. A review of footage from multiple videos obtained from the King Road neighborhood showed multiple sightings of suspect vehicle 1, starting at 3:29 a.m. and ending at 4:20 a.m. These sightings show suspect vehicle 1 makes an initial 3 passes by the 1122 King Road residence and then leave via Willenta Drive. Based off of my experience as a patrol officer, this is a residential neighborhood with a very limited number of vehicles that travel in the area during the early morning hours. Upon review of the video, there are only a few cars that enter and exit this area during this time frame. Suspect vehicle 1 can be seen entering the area a fourth time approximately 4:04 a.m. It can be seen driving eastbound on King Road, stopping and touring around in front of 500 Queen Road number 52, and then driving back westbound on King Road. When suspect vehicle 1 is in front of the King Road residence, it appeared to unsuccessfully attempt to park or turn around in the road. The vehicle then continued to the intersection of Queen Road and King Road, where it can be seen completing a three-point turn, and then driving eastbound again down Queen Road. Suspect vehicle 1 is next seen departing the area of the King Road residence at approximately 4:20 a.m. at a high rate of speed. Suspect vehicle 1 is next observed traveling southbound on Willetta Drive. Based on my knowledge of the area and review of camera footage in the neighborhood that does not show suspect vehicle 1 during that time frame, I believe that suspect vehicle 1 likely exited the neighborhood at Palouse River Drive and Conestoga Drive. Palouse River Drive is at the southern edge of Moscow and proceeds into Whitman County, Washington. Eventually the road leads to Pullman, Washington. Pullman, Washington is approximately 10 miles from Moscow, Idaho. Both Pullman and Moscow are small college towns and people commonly travel back and forth between them. Law enforcement officers provided video footage of suspect vehicle 1 to forensic examiners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation that regularly utilize surveillance footage to identify the year, make, and model of an unknown vehicle that is observed by one or more cameras during the commission of a criminal offense. The forensic examiner has approximately 35 years law enforcement experience, with 12 years at the FBI. His specific training includes identifying unique characteristics of vehicles, and he uses a database that gives visual cues of vehicles across states to identify differences between vehicles. After reviewing the numerous observances of suspect vehicle 1, the forensic examiner initially believed that suspect vehicle 1 was a 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra. Upon further review, they indicated it could also be a 2011 to 2016 Hyundai Blantra. As a result, investigators have been reviewing information on persons in possession of a vehicle that is a 2011 to 2016 white Hyundai Blantra. Investigators were given access to video footage on the Washington State University WSU campus located in Pullman, WA. A review of that video indicated that at approximately 2:44 a.m. on November 13, 2022, a white sedan, which was consistent with the description of the white Elantra known as suspect vehicle 1, was observed on WS surveillance cameras traveling north on Southeast Nevada Street at Northeast Stadium Way. At approximately 2:53 a.m., a white sedan, which is consistent with the description of the white Elantra known as suspect vehicle 1, was observed traveling southeast on Nevada Street in Pullman, WA towards SR 270. SR 270 connects Pullman, Washington to Moscow, Idaho. This camera footage from Pullman, WA was provided to the same FBI forensic examiner. The forensic examiner identified the vehicle observed in Pullman, WA as being a 2014 to 2016 Hyundai Elantra. At approximately 5:25 a.m., a white sedan, which was consistent with the description of suspect vehicle 1, was observed on 5 cameras in Pullman, WA and on WSU campus cameras. The first camera that recorded the white sedan was located at 1300 Johnson Road in Pullman. The white sedan was observed traveling northbound on Johnson Road. Johnson Road leads directly back to West Palouse River Drive in Moscow, which intersects with Conestoga Drive. The white sedan was then observed turning north on Bishop Boulevard and northwest on SR 270. At approximately 5:27 a.m., the white Elantra was observed on cameras traveling northbound on Stadium Way at Nevada Street, Stadium Way at Grimes Way, Stadium Drive at Wilson Road, and Stadium Way at Cougar Way. Depiction showing Moscow and Pullman. On November 25, 2022, MPD asked area law enforcement agencies to be on the lookout for white Hyundai Elantras in the area. On November 29, 2022, at approximately 12:28 a.m., Washington State University, WSU police officer Daniel Tingo queried white Elantris registered at WSU. As a result of that query, he located a 2015 white Elantra with a Pennsylvania license plate LFZ 8649. This vehicle was registered to Brian Cobberger, hereafter Cobberger, residing at 1630 NE Valley Road, apartment 201, Pullman, Washington. 1630 NE Valley Road is approximately 3/4 of a mile from the intersection of Stadium Way and Cougar Way. Last camera location that picked up the white Elantra. That same day at approximately 12:58 a.m., WSU officer Curtis Whitman was looking for white Hyundai Elantras and located a 2015 white Hyundai Elantra at 1630 NE Valley Road in Pullman. In the parking lot. 1630 NE Valley Road is an apartment complex that houses WSU students. Officer Whitman also ran the car in its return to Cobberger with a Washington tag. I reviewed Cobberger's WA state driver license information and photograph. This license indicates that Cobberger is a white male with a height of 6 and weighs 185 pounds. Additionally, the photograph of Cobberger shows that he has bushy eyebrows. Cobberger's physical description is consistent with the description of the male Mortensen saw inside the King Road residence on November 134. Further investigation, including a review of Ladau County Sheriff's Deputy Corporal, CPL Duke's body camera reports, showed that on August 21, 2022, Brian Cobberger was detained as part of a traffic stop that occurred in Moscow, Idaho, by CPL Duke. At the time, Cobberger, who was the sole occupant, was driving a white 2015 Hyundai Elantra with Pennsylvania plate LFZ 8649, which was set to expire on November 30, 2022. During the stop, which was recorded via law enforcement body camera, Cobberger provided his phone number as 509-592-8458. Hereafter, the 8458 phone is his cellular telephone number. Investigators conducted electronic database queries and learned that the 8458 phone is a number issued by AT&T. On October 14, 2022, Brian Cobberger was detained as part of a traffic stop by a WSU police officer. Upon review of that body camera report of the stop, Cobberger was the sole occupant and was driving a white 2015 Hyundai Elantra with Pennsylvania plate LFZ 8649. On November 18, 2022, according to WA state licensing, Cobberger registered the 2015 white Elantra with WA and later received WA plate CFB 8708. Prior to this time, the 2015 white Elantra was registered in Pennsylvania, which does not require a front license plate to be displayed. This was learned through communications with a Pennsylvania officer who is currently certified in the state of Pennsylvania. Based on my own experience and communication with Washington law enforcement, I know that Idaho and Washington require front and back license plates to be displayed. Investigators believe that Cobberger is still driving the 2015 white Elantra because his vehicle was captured on December 13, 2022, by a license plate reader in Loma, Colorado. Information provided by a query to a database. Cobberger's Elantra was then queried on December 15, 2022 by law enforcement in Hancock County, Indiana. On December 16, 2022 at approximately 2:26 p.m., surveillance video showed Cobberger's Elantra in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. The sole occupant of the vehicle was a white male whose description was consistent with Cobberger. Cobberger has family in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, learned through a TLO search and locate tool database query. Based on information provided on the WSU website, Cobberger is currently a PhD student in criminology at Washington State University. Pursuant to records provided by a member of the interview panel for Pullman Police Department, We learned that Carberger's past education included undergraduate degrees in psychology and cloud-based forensics. These records also showed Carberger wrote an essay when he applied for an internship with the Pullman Police Department in the fall of 2022. Carberger wrote in his essay he had interest in assisting rural law enforcement agencies with how to better collect and analyze technological data in public safety operations. Carberger also posted a Reddit survey which can be found by an open-source internet search. The survey asked for participants to provide information to understand how emotions and psychological traits influence decision-making when committing a crime. As part of this investigation, law enforcement obtained search warrants to determine cellular devices that utilized cellular towers in close proximity to the King Road residence on November 13, 2022, between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., after determining that Carberger was associated to both the 2015 white Elantra and the 8458 phone. Investigators review these search warrant returns. A query of the 8458 phone and these returns did not show the 8458 phone utilizing cellular tower as sources in close proximity to the King Road residence between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. Based on my training, experience, and conversations with law enforcement officers that specialize in the utilization of cellular telephone records as part of investigations. Individuals can either leave their cellular telephone at a different location before committing a crime, or turn their cellular telephone off prior to going to a location to commit a crime. This is done by subjects in an effort to avoid alerting law enforcement that a cellular device associated with them was in a particular area where a crime is committed. I also know that on numerous occasions, subjects will surveil an area where they intend to commit a crime prior to the date of the crime. Depending on the circumstances, this could be done a few days before or for several months prior to the commission of a crime. During these types of surveillance, it is possible that an individual would not leave their cellular telephone at a separate location or turn it off since they do not plan to commit the offense on that particular day. On December 23, 2022, I applied for and was granted a search warrant for historical phone records between November 12, 2022 at 12 a.m. and November 14 at 12 a.m. for the 8458 phone held by the phone provider AT&T, approximately 24 hours preceding and following the times of the homicides. On December 23, 2022, pursuant to that search warrant, I received records for the 8458 phone from AT&T. These records indicated that the 8458 phone is subscribed to Brian Carberger at an address in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, and the account has been open since June 23, 2022. These records also included historical cell site location information, CSLI, for the 8458 phone. After receiving this information, one consulted with an FBI special agent SA that is certified as a member of the Cellular Analysis Survey Team, CAST. Members of CAST are certified with the FBI to provide expert testimony in the field of historical CSLI and are required to pass extensive training that includes both written and practical examinations prior to be certified with CAST, as well as the completion of yearly certification requirements. Additionally, the FBI CAST SA that I consulted with has over 15 years of federal law enforcement experience, which includes 6 years with the FBI. From information provided by CAST, I was able to determine estimated locations for the 8458 phone from November 12, 2022 to November 13, 2022, the time period authorized by the court. On November 13, 2022, at approximately 2:42 a.m., the 8458 phone was utilizing cellular as sources that provide coverage to 1630 Northeast Valley Road, APG 201, Pullman, WA. Hereafter the Carberger residence, At approximately 2:47 a.m., the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources that provide coverage southeast of the Cobberger residence, consistent with the 8458 phone leaving the Cobberger residence and traveling south through Pullman, WA. This is consistent with the movement of the White Elantra. At approximately 2:47 a.m., the 8458 phone stops reporting to the network, which is consistent with either the phone being in an area without cellular coverage, the connection to the network is disabled, such as putting the phone in airplane mode, or that the phone is turned off. The 8458 phone does not report to the network again until approximately 4:48 a.m., at which time it utilized cellular resources that provide coverage to ID State Highway 95 south of Moscow, ID near Blaine, ID, town north of Genesee. Between 4:50 a.m. and 5:26 a.m., the phone utilizes cellular resources that are consistent with the 8458 phone traveling south on ID State Highway 95 to Genesee, ID, then traveling west towards Uniontown, ID, and then north back into Pullman, WA. At approximately 5:30 a.m., the 8458 phone is utilizing resources that provide coverage to Pullman, WA, and consistent with the phone traveling back to the Cobberger residence. The 8458 phone's movements are consistent with the movements of the White Elantra that is observed traveling north on Stadium Drive at approximately 5:27 a.m., based on a review of the 8458 phone's estimated locations and travel. The 8458 phone's travel is consistent with that of the White Elantra. Further review indicated that the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources on November 13, 2022, that are consistent with the 8458 phone leaving the area of the Cobberger residence at approximately 9 a.m., and traveling to Moscow, ID. Specifically, the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources that would provide coverage to the King Road residence between 9:12 a.m. and 9:21 a.m. The 8458 phone next utilized cellular resources that are consistent with the 8458 phone traveling back to the area of the Cobberger residence and arriving to the area at approximately 9:32 a.m. Below is a depiction, not to scale, of the possible route taken based off of cellular site locations. Investigators found that the 8458 phone did connect to a cell phone tower that provides service to Moscow on November 14, 2022, but investigators do not believe the 8458 phone was in Moscow on that date. The 8458 phone has not connected to any towers that provide service to Moscow since that date. Based on my training, experience, and the facts of the investigation thus far, I believe that Cobberger, the user of the 8458 phone, was likely the driver of the White Elantra that is observed departing Pullman, WA, in that this vehicle is likely suspect vehicle 1. Additionally, the route of travel of the 8458 phone during the early morning hours of November 13, 2022, and the lack of the 8458 phone reporting to AT&T between 2:47 a.m. and 4:48 a.m. is consistent with Cobberger attempting to conceal his location during the quadruple homicide that occurred at the King Road residence. On December 23, 2022, I was granted a search warrant for Cobberger's historical CSLI from June 23, 2022 to current, prospective location information, and a pen register trap and trace on the 8458 phone to aid in efforts to determine if Cobberger stalked any of the victims in this case prior to the offense, conducted surveillance on the King Road residence, was in contact with any of the victims' associates before or after the alleged offense, Any locations that may contain evidence of the murders that occurred on November 13, 2022, the location of the White Elantra registered to Carberger, as well as the location of Carberger on December 23, 2022, pursuant to that search warrant, I received historical records for the 8,458 phone from AT&T from the time the account was opened in June 2022. After consulting with Cast SA, I was able to determine estimated locations for the 8,458 phone from June 2022 to present, the time period authorized by the court. The records for the 8,458 phone show the 8,458 phone utilizing cellular as sources that provide coverage to the area of 1,122 King Road on at least 12 occasions prior to November 13, 2022. All of these occasions, except for one, occurred in the late evening and early morning hours of their respective days. One of these occasions, on August 21, 2022, the 8,458 phone utilized cellular as sources providing coverage to the King Road residents from approximately 10:34 p.m. to 11:35 p.m. At approximately 11:37 p.m., Carberger was stopped by Ladakh County Sheriff's Deputy Corporal Duke. As mentioned above, the 8,548 phone was utilizing cellular as sources consistent with the location of the traffic stop during this time, Farm Road and Pullman Highway. Further analysis of the cellular data provided showed the 8,458 phone utilized cellular as sources on November 13, 2022, consistent with the phone traveling from Pullman, Washington to Lewiston, Idaho via U.S. Highway 195 at approximately 12:36 p.m. The 8,458 phone utilized cellular as sources that would provide coverage to Kate's Cup of Joe coffee stand, located at 810 Port Drive, Clarkston, WA. Surveillance footage from the U.S. Chef store located at 820 Port Drive, Clarkston, WA and adjacent to Kate's Cup of Joe showed a White Elantra, consistent with suspect vehicle 1, drive past Kate's Cup of Joe at a time consistent with the cellular data from the 8,548 phone. At approximately 12:46 p.m., the 8,458 phone then utilized cellular data in the area of the Albertsons grocery store at 400 Bridge Street in Clarkston, Washington. Surveillance footage obtained from the Albertsons showed Carberger exit the White Elantra, consistent with suspect vehicle 1, at approximately 12:49 p.m. Interior surveillance cameras showed Carberger walk through the store, purchase unknown items at the checkout, and leave at approximately 1:04 p.m. Carberger's possible path of travel is depicted below, not to scale. Additional analysis of records for the 8,458 phone indicated that between approximately 5:32 p.m. and 5:36 p.m., the 8,458 phone utilized cellular as sources that provide coverage to Johnson ID. The 8,458 phone then stops reporting to the network from approximately 5:36 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. That is consistent with the 8,458 phone being the area that the 8,458 phone traveled in the hours immediately following the suspected time the homicides occurred. Based off the above information, I am seeking a search warrant for Carberger's person and his parents' residence located at 119 Lambsden Drive, Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, 18,210, 119 Lambsden Drive, Albrightsville, Pennsylvania is a single-family, two-story residence white in color. There is a two-car garage located on the west side of the residence. This is the location Carberger is currently believed to be at based off cellular phone data received in previous warrants. Based off information gathered during this investigation, it is believed Carberger's mother Mary Ann Carberger, father Michael Carberger, and sister Amanda Cobberger currently reside in the residence. In addition, I am seeking a warrant for all outbuildings and sheds located on the property. It is also believed Cobberger's white Hyundai Elantra, suspect's vehicle 1, is stored in the two-car garage on the west side of the residence. Based off the above facts, I am requesting a search warrant for Cobberger's white 2015 Hyundai Elantra bearing VIN number SNPDH4A6FH579860 for wherever it is found. The Hyundai Elantra is registered solely to Cobberger. Based on my experience or the experience of investigators trained in forensic technology, I provide the following. 31 many electronic devices, particularly newer mobile devices and laptops, offer their users the ability to unlock the device through biometric features, in lieu of a numeric or alphanumeric passcode or password. These biometric features include fingerprint scanners, facial recognition features, and iris recognition features. Some devices offer a combination of these biometric features, and the user of such devices can select which features they would like to utilize. If a device is equipped with a fingerprint scanner, a user may enable the ability to unlock the device through his or her fingerprints. For example, Apple offers a feature called Touch ID, which allows a user to register up to 5 fingerprints that can unlock a device. Once a fingerprint is registered, a user can unlock the device by pressing the relevant finger to the device's Touch ID sensor, which is found in the round button, often referred to as the home button, located at the bottom center of the front of the device. The fingerprint sensor is found on devices produced by other manufacturers have different names, but operate similarly to Touch ID. If a device is equipped with a facial recognition feature, a user may enable the ability to unlock the device through his or her face. For example, this feature is available on certain Android devices and is called Trusted Face. During the Trusted Face registration process, the user holds the device in front of his or her face. The device's front-facing camera then analyzes and records data based on the user's facial characteristics. The device can then be unlocked if the front-facing camera detects a face with characteristics that match those of the registered face. Facial recognition features found on devices produced by other manufacturers have different names, but operate similarly to Trusted Face. If a device is equipped with an iris recognition feature, a user may enable the ability to unlock the device with his or her irises. For example, on certain Microsoft devices, this feature is called Windows Hello. During the Windows Hello registration, a user registers his or her irises by holding the device in front of his or her face. The device then directs an infrared light toward the user's face and activates an infrared-sensitive camera to record data based on patterns within the user's irises. The device can then be unlocked if the infrared-sensitive camera detects the registered irises. Iris recognition features found on devices produced by other manufacturers have different names, but operate similarly to Windows Hello. Users of electronic devices often enable the aforementioned biometric features because they are considered to be a more convenient way to unlock a device than by entering a numeric or alphanumeric passcode or password. Moreover, in some instances, biometric features are considered to be a more secure way to protect a device's contents. This is particularly true when the users of a device are engaged in criminal activities and thus have a heightened concern about securing the contents of a device. As discussed in this affidavit, based on my training and experience, I believe that one or more digital devices will be found during the search. The passcode or password that would unlock the devices subject to search under this warrant is not known to law enforcement. Thus, law enforcement personnel may not otherwise be able to access the data contained within the devices, making the use of biometric features necessary to the execution of the search authorized by this warrant. I also know from my training and experience, as well as from information found in publicly available materials including those published by device manufacturers, that biometric features will not unlock a device in some circumstances even if such features are enabled. This can occur when a device has been restarted, inactive, or has not been unlocked for a certain period of time. For example, Apple devices cannot be unlocked using Touch ID when 1. More than 48 hours has elapsed since the device was last unlocked, or 2. When the device has not been unlocked using a fingerprint for 8 hours and the passcode or password has not been entered in the last 6 days. Similarly, certain Android devices cannot be unlocked with Trusted Face if the device has remained inactive for 4 hours. Biometric features from other brands carry similar restrictions. Thus, in the event law enforcement personnel encounter a locked device equipped with biometric features, the opportunity to unlock the device through a biometric feature may exist for only a short time. In my training and experience, the person who is in possession of a device, or has the device among his or her belongings at the time the device is found, is likely a user of the device. However, in my training and experience, that person may not be the only user of the device whose physical characteristics are among those that will unlock the device via biometric features. And it is also possible that the person in whose possession the device is found is not actually a user of that device at all. Furthermore, in my training and experience, I know that in some cases it may not be possible to know with certainty who is the user of a given device, such as if the device is found in a common area of a premises without any identifying information on the exterior of the device. Thus, it will likely be necessary for law enforcement to have the ability to require any individual who is found at the subject premises and reasonably believed by law enforcement to be a user of the device to unlock the device using biometric features in the same manner as discussed above. Due to the foregoing, if law enforcement personnel encounter a device that is subject to seizure pursuant to this warrant and may be unlocked using one of the aforementioned biometric features, the warrant I am applying for would permit law enforcement personnel to 1. Press or swipe the fingers, including thumbs, of any individual who is found at the subject premises and reasonably believed by law enforcement to be a user of the devices, to the fingerprint scanner of the devices found at the premises. 2. Hold the devices found at the premises in front of the face to those same individuals and activate the facial recognition feature, and/or 3. Hold the devices found at the premises in front of the face of those same individuals and activate the iris recognition feature for the purpose of attempting to unlock the devices in order to search the contents as authorized by this warrant.